This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Education either functions as an instrument which is used to facilitate integration of the younger generation into the logic of the present system and bring about conformity, or it becomes the practice of freedom, the means by which men and women deal critically and creatively with reality and discover how to participate in the transformation of their world. Paulo Freire, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. The chronic achievement gap in most American schools has created an epidemic of dependent learners, unprepared to do the higher order thinking, creative problem solving, and analytical reading and writing called for in the new Common Core state standards. One of the goals of education is not simply to fill students with facts and information, but to help them learn how to learn. Classroom studies document the fact that underserved English learners, poor students, and students of color routinely receive less instruction in higher order skills development than other students. Allington and McGill Franzen, 1989. Zaretta Hammond, 2001. Oakes, 2005. Their curriculum is less challenging and more repetitive. Their instruction is more focused on skills low on Bloom's taxonomy. This type of instruction denies students the opportunity to engage in what neuroscientists call productive struggle that actually grows our brain power. Means and Knapp, 1991. Richard, 2002. As a result, a disproportionate number of culturally and linguistically diverse students are dependent learners. Here is the problem. On his own, a dependent learner is not able to do complex school-oriented learning tasks such as synthesizing and analyzing informational text without continuous support. Let's not misunderstand the point. Dependent doesn't mean deficit. As children enter school, we expect that they are dependent learners. One of our key jobs in the early school years is to help students become independent learners. We expect students to be well on their way to becoming independent learners by third grade. But we still find a good number of students who struggle with rigorous content well into high school, mostly students of color. The closest we come to talking about this situation is the popular Read by Third Grade campaigns. We say children are learning to read up until third grade, then shift to reading to learn. The same is true with cognition. In the early grades, we teach children habits of mind and help them build cognitive processes and structures so that as they move through school, they are able to do complex thinking and independent learning. For culturally and linguistically diverse students, their opportunities to develop habits of mind and cognitive capacities are limited or non-existent because of educational inequity. The result is their cognitive growth is stunted, leaving them dependent learners, unable to work to their full potential. In the new Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness, Michelle Alexander, 2012, suggests that this dependency is the first leg of the school-to-prison pipeline for many students of color. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, the school-to-prison is a set of seemingly unconnected school policies and teacher instructional decisions that over time result in students of color not receiving adequate literacy and content instruction, while being disproportionately disciplined for nonspecific, subjective offenses such as defiance. Students of color, especially African American and Latino boys, end up spending valuable instructional time in the office rather than in the classroom. Consequently, they fall further and further behind in reading achievement, just as reading is becoming the primary tool they will need for taking in new content. Student frustration and shame at being labeled a slow reader and having low comprehension leads to more off-task behavior, which the teacher responds to by sending the student out of the classroom.